Good afternoon. When we're ready to go, we'll get started with Carvo from Sky Sports. Is the microphone around? Move it up, Mike. Carry on.
Gareth, first of all, you've had a bit of time to reflect on Saturday. Was it a bit of a reality check?
I don't think a reality check, because I think we know exactly where we are as a team and a group of staff in terms of our development. In actual fact, when I looked back, we created a lot of chances in the game. So although for periods Spain had a lot of the ball in midfield, they didn't create any more chances than we did. We had the better chances in the game. When we looked back over the last 15 years, we couldn't find a game where Spain had as little possession of the ball as they did on Saturday. So from our point of view, yes, still work to do, but still improving as a team against top opposition. When we played Spain 2 years ago, we had 40% of the ball, really played on the counter-attack. So that's part of our evolution, and it's only by playing these top teams that we're going to get better.
You've now lost 3 games in a row. No England side's ever lost 4 in a row. Something that fans should be getting a bit worried about at the moment?
Well, not many England sides have played a World Cup semi-final and a third, fourth playoff, so the stats can be whatever you want them to be, really. From our point of view, we don't want to be in the habit of losing matches, but also to play 3 teams of the quality we've played in the last 3 matches is a very rare occurrence in international football. So we have to focus on our performances, improving as a team. We said World Cup was that finished. So if we're going to do that from a positive point of view, we've got to, in our camp, do that in terms of the results moving forward as well. And understandably, everybody else will focus on that, or some people will. But we've got to keep focused on the things we can control and improving in every area of the game.
And looking ahead to tomorrow night's game, is this an ideal chance for you to make lots of changes?
Yeah, I think it's important. We've got players who are an important part of our squad. There's a lot of competition for places and some very close calls as to who our first choice players would be. So, and that will change as the season goes on. But we're invested in the core of this squad. There will be, I'm sure, some players to come in, as we've done with Ben and Damari this time. But we believe in the core group. Some of them haven't had football with their club this year, so they need to play. Some of them are on the back of having had a heavy summer, and we don't need them to play too much. So there's a bit of a balance that I'm hoping to look after the players and give them a bit of what they need, and I know that we'll get a good performance, because whenever we've changed the team in recent months, the level of performance has always remained the same. Everybody knows their jobs, they know how we play, and it's important for the group that they all feel involved.
And on Dele Alli, how do you feel he played on Saturday, and why did you have to leave?
Yeah, I thought his performance was good. He was, in terms of his retention of the ball, I thought he was improved in that area in particular. His work without the ball has been good over the last 6 months with us. So he makes critical forward runs. So again, like everybody else, he learned a lot from the game. He's just had a minor strain and should be fine for his club at the weekend, I would think. But tomorrow's game will come too quickly for him.
And on Luke Shaw, how worried were you about what happened to him on Saturday night?
Well, you never like to see an incident like that you can see immediately is potentially serious. He's obviously knocked out before he hit the floor, so our medical team dealt with that really well, I think. He's spent the last day with us just getting back into some recovery, and he's gone back to his club this afternoon. So all being well, he has a mandatory 7-day period that he has to serve with the concussion, but he should be back in the fold as soon as that's done.
Harry, it's been quite 15 months for you since you join Leicester?
No, yeah, like you said, the last 2 years have been remarkable for myself. Obviously got relegated at Hull and joined such a great club in Leicester last season, play every game in the Premier League, and to make a World Cup squad and reach a semi-final is something that I'm really proud of.
You've also signed a new contract for Leicester. Was that an easy decision to make?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously after the World Cup I come back and I sat down with the owners and they reiterated what they wanted to do. They wanted to reward me for a great season and obviously a successful World Cup with England. It's something that I'm looking forward to the future now and see where we can go as a club.
Obviously clubs like Manchester United were very keen to sign you. Was it ever a possibility that you could leave in the summer?
No, I don't think so. There was obviously, like you say, a little bit of interest there and then, but no, it was always on my mind when I spoke to the owners and they wanted me to keep at the club and extend my contract. I wanted to play for this club, and like I said, I'm now looking forward to the future.
Gareth, we asked you about your contract on Friday, and you obviously said it was a private matter, but we know the FA want you to stay, the players want you to stay, the fans obviously want you to stay. Do you want to remain England manager after Euro 2020?
Well, at the moment, we've had initial discussions, as I said. That's been it. So, for me, I've got to focus on the job in hand, and I'm contracted for the next 22 months, whatever it is, and my focus, most importantly, is on tomorrow night. But also then building this team to be as competitive as we can be and keep improving them.
From what you experienced in Russia, would that make you want to lead England into another World Cup?
Well, I mean, the summer was an incredible experience for everybody. That of course, they're the games that you want to be involved in, and you want to be involved in matches that matter. But beyond that, I don't really want to get into detail because I think it would be a distraction ahead of the game.
There's also been a lot of talk about the fact that maybe one thing you lack in this squad, although you've got very, very good players, is you don't have a world-class creative midfielder, somebody in the mould of maybe Modric or Thiago. Is that something that English football is lacking at the moment? Do you see that kind of player on the horizon?
I think we've got to, from my point of view, appreciate the players we have. These group of players did an exceptional job in the summer, and the most important thing is that I help them to develop, that we invest time in them, help to create the environment that allows them to flourish, and focus on what we've got and working to the best possible level with the players that we've got. I think that's really important. We can't think about what we haven't got and how we might like to play. If we had different types of players, we might play in a different sort of way. So I think we've got to concentrate on our strengths, maximise those strengths, which I think we did in the summer, and we've got to continue to do that over the next couple of years.
Yeah, David Hornsley.
Hi Gareth. Just back to that point on losing 3 in a row and possibly going 4 for the first time ever. It might not be something that, as you said, that you guys are sort of focusing on, but other people are, and especially with the Nations League now bringing competitive matches to friendlies. Does that put added pressure on a match like tomorrow night when you're trying to bring through players who haven't had the minutes they need? But inevitably, if a 4th match is lost, then there'll be a huge focus on it.
Yeah, but that focus will come on me, and I'm not concerned about it. Otherwise, I would make decisions just to boost my own win record. But in the build-up to last summer, we played Brazil, Germany, France, Spain. If it was about my win record, probably wouldn't make those decisions. So the decisions are made to try and develop the team, and I'll put young players in as we did again at the weekend, like Joe Gomez, Marcus back in, Luke Shaw back in. These guys, the likes of Harry, still only a handful of caps really. So it's more important to me that we invest in the team, that we improve the team, that we give these guys the experiences they need to get better. I'll have to live with whatever people want to say about my records and relegations and whatever else fits the bill, but I'm comfortable in my own skin in that regard. The priority is not me, it's developing the England team.
And so tomorrow night the priority is developing the players, giving them the minutes and not the result, even if it's a defeat?
Well, we always want to win matches, and we don't enjoy losing matches or accept losing matches. But I can't make decisions just to try and get a win. We've got to focus on the processes, we've got to focus on performance, the things we can control. A lot of these guys that are coming into the team tomorrow have had 0 minutes in the league. But the right thing for them, and ultimately the right thing for us as we go through this season and beyond, is to give them game time and to give them international matches. So that's the reason for doing it.
And is this process, this project that you're sort of embarking on, going to require a lot of patience from fans, as you explained, that it might not be the results that everybody wants all the time?
Yeah, but I understand that when you're in charge of the national team, then you've got to try and do both things. But I've got to, keep a clear mind on, what are the real objectives, and in the end, I think we'll be judged on what happens in the major championships. Nobody is really talking to me about our qualifying matches for the last World Cup or the friendlies before that, but they were still significant learning points on that journey. So we have to try to improve. We've got to make sure that our mentality is good. We're not just dismissing any games. We want to build a winning team, and of course, level of performance has to be good. But I think our level of performance was good on Saturday. We played a team that in certain areas of the game were a little bit better than us, and we conceded a couple of poor goals really as well. So I've always got to keep that sense of perspective when I'm reviewing our performances and reviewing what we're trying to do.
You've sort of talked about English players and playing minutes quite extensively. You just said there some have played no minutes at all. It's quite incredible to think that they're potentially representing the national team with no minutes of the season. Incredibly frustrating for you. Do you see genuinely any progress in this, meaningful progress in that area?
Well, of course, I raised in particular about the opportunity for young players a couple of weeks ago, because I think it's a debate that needs to happen and something that we need to try and address. Some of these guys, it's a result of the fact that they were with us for so long in the summer. They missed the pre-season period. Clubs had to go straight back into games. So in some instances, they've missed out being first choice in the first couple of weeks, and teams have understandably kept their starting 11 because they've won matches. So they're now going to go back into a period where I think it will help them, if they've had some football with us, will help them with their clubs to be in a better position to get minutes. So there's got to be a part of the role which is probably unique, but that's where we are, that we're trying to help develop some individuals as well.
That's fairly extraordinary that the national team is providing minutes to get players up to match fitness.
Yeah, but I think these players committed and gave an unbelievable amount for the country over the summer, and I think this is the core group of players that are going to take us forward over the next 2 years. So really important that we consider them, that we also look after the guys that have had to go back into matches quickly and have European football coming up as well. So I've got to balance all of those things off really, but I've got to think of the progress of our individual players and how we get them to the best possible level. That's why we started the likes of Marcus and Joe at the weekend, because their individual development has got to be part of developing this team.
And England are on the road again, obviously, which may become something that we'll see more of with Wembley being considered for sale. Would you like to see England playing more games around the country?
I've always said that all of my experiences as a player, travelling, and as the experience we had at Leeds was absolutely brilliant, was one of the most memorable parts of the summer, really. So we're hugely looking forward to tomorrow. It's great that people in Leicester and the surrounding area can have a short journey to come and watch us play. We're as much their team as we are a team that play out of Wembley, and we represent the whole country, so it's lovely to be able to take the team on the road.
Just quickly for me, it's obviously a match dedicated to Kick It Out, which brings the issue of racism and discrimination back into focus. Is this an issue you've said in the past that you think we need to get our own house in order before we start lecturing others? We talked about it before Russia. Is it an area that you have strong feelings on?
Yeah, well, I think football is a mirror of society, and our country have made huge strides in every area of dealing with racism, and Kick It Out within football have played a major part, in particular with education of schools and young people. So it's great that we're able to dedicate this game to that cause, and in the end we have to affect things that are broader in society than just football, but football is a great vehicle to be able to do that.
Okay, Carrie Brown.
Gareth, from the World Cup, 3 England players have been nominated into the shortlist of Rome World. 11, your reactions?
Yeah, I think it's a joke. Harry's not in it, frankly, is my immediate reaction. But no, I think that it was a really good team performance, and there were within that some outstanding individual performances, and a lot of players who came of age on an international stage and announced themselves to a bigger audience. So delighted for them, and I'm sure they would acknowledge that a large part of them being there is because of what the whole group did.
How often is playing out of position? He came under some scrutiny during the World Cup. How much were you boosted by that?
Yeah, well, he needs reassuring that it's a position he can play really well, because I've got complete belief in him. I know he prefers to play as a fullback, but he did a fantastic job for us through the summer, and he's more than capable of playing in a number of different positions. So it's great for him that he's received that recognition.
A real innovation character.
Yeah, well, again, I think the journey of a lot of our players, from sometimes starting at better known clubs and then working their way back through the league. Kieran had a great resurgence at Burnley, and has obviously then gone up a level at Spurs in terms of European football as well. So he had a wonderful summer, and of course was instrumental in a lot of the goals we scored.
Harry Kane picked up his golden boot, nominated for the World 11 as well. He won't be entirely happy with his performance at Wembley. How much is that to do with the service provided to him, and what will you be looking to amend that next time?
Well, I think in terms of chances we created against the top team, Saturday's as good as we've done. So because those chances didn't fall for Harry doesn't necessarily mean that's can be a criticism of the team, because Marcus actually was on the end of 3 or 4 really good opportunities. Harry played him in for one of those, and that's part of being a team. If you're playing with 2 strikers, at times they're going to interchange and they're going to pop up at different moments. So Harry would recognise that whoever the chances fall to, that at times can be a consequence of the positions they've taken up earlier in those moves.
You have talked about Paul Gascoigne being the last world-class player that you remember. He's actually offered, he said, I've got size 9, can you provide me to come out and play it?
Well, it's probably a little bit late for that, but no, he was a wonderful player. I mean, I think it's maybe a little bit unfair to say he's the only world-class player we've had, because I think in different types of players, the likes of Scholes or an Ashley Cole or people like that, we've had outstanding people in their own positions, but I think I was asked the specifics of his type of player, and a player that could pass past people, run past people, score goals, head it, tackle, shoot, old-fashioned midfield play. So he was a unique talent in terms of the level that I thought in my time playing with England.
I made a joke that Harry should have been involved. There's a lot of Leicester fans, and actually the world over, saying that Harry should have been. How impressed with how strong he was in the World Cup and what performance can you expect from him at home?
Yeah, I think I was first and foremost delighted he was fit and available, and the reason for that being, when I was watching him during last season, I knew that on the biggest stage he'd be able to perform and excel, and I was so pleased he was going to have the opportunity to do that, and he delivered. You know, he's a super defender. He's really effective in both penalty boxes, and the way that he brings the ball forward and can use the ball is as good as anything in Europe, in my opinion. So I think he proved to himself as much as anything that against some top players and some top teams in the lead up to the finals, during the finals, and again on Saturday night, that he can compete with the very best.
There will be some disappointment among home fans that Jamie Vardy won't feature, but Ben Chilwell's been here since 12 years old. Is that a substitute?
Yeah, he's having a really good season. I thought he finished last season very well. This season has started extremely well. Trained with us this morning, and I thought was very impressive again. So it's a good moment for Ben. He's really pushing hard for one of the positions on our left side. Is a very good athlete, and his use of the ball is good. So he's a player that we're constantly monitoring, and it's good to see the progress he's making.
Murray working his way up from Burnley and throughout the ranks. Are you concerned that so many of the players that you've been able to push through have actually, like Harry, gone away, come back, or pushed their way up through the ranks, that they're not coming from the top academies as easily as they should?
Well, I don't think it matters where you start. It's about constantly learning and improving, and getting the games to be able to do that. Damari would be an example that got in the team very young at Birmingham, and so has had a lot of league games under his belt before moving to Leicester, and looks as though he's establishing himself in the team here this season. So again, he'll benefit from all of those different experiences.
And Harry, what can we expect from them both?
No, I think they're both really top players, top talents. Been with the 21s for a long time now, so they know the way that England works. I'm really pleased. It may put a big smile on my face when I see them both get called up. We've got a young squad at Leicester, lots of English players too, so I'm looking forward to see what comes from them.
How much did you change from the player that left the King Power at the end of last season to the player that went out to a World Cup and will be putting on the England strip in your dressing?
No, like you said, it's been a crazy last couple of years for myself. From the summer, I think maybe just the experience of playing in big games at a World Cup, playing in high pressure games. I haven't really, in my career, done that so far. So to go out there playing a World Cup, probably the biggest tournament in the world, and play under the pressures that was there, it gives me great belief that I can go on and have another good season.
The fans that haven't been to a King Power Stadium match, what kind of atmosphere will England be given when they walk out?
No, the atmosphere here is always great. Every home game here is always electric, and I'm sure tomorrow night will be electric too. We really had a good time last time we went away from Wembley at Leeds, and the atmosphere there was great to play under, and under the lights tomorrow night. I'm sure it'll be great here too.
And Gareth, just switching tones if you don't mind, keep your eye on the cricket. Alistair Cook seeing out his career with a century. How much does he embody what you are looking for in a top England sportsman?
He's had an incredible international career, hasn't he? And brilliant to see him get his 100 today. So also important for the captain to get his 100. So yeah, delighted for them. But Alistair in particular has been a brilliant servant of English cricket, but English sport, and a great ambassador as well. So we wish him very well with whatever he's going to do with the additional spare time he gets.
Okay.